Time travel is one of the most abused narrative crutches in modern storytelling. It's the writer's equivalent of pulling the fire alarm when you've written yourself into a corner. Can't resolve a plot? Reset the timeline. Killed the wrong character. Alternate reality. Painted yourself into a thematic dead end. Multiverse it and move on. It's overused, overexplained, and worst of all, it's lazy. And yes, I know this is a subject I've ranted about before, but that's because it keeps proving me right. Time travel almost always drains stakes instead of raising them. When consequences can be undone, nothing truly matters, which makes it all the more frustrating when a series I genuinely love gets lumped into the time travel box, when that label fundamentally misunderstands what it's actually doing. Welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Daemon, and today we're talking about Life on Mars, a show that gets casually dismissed as a time travel gimmick, when in reality it's one of the smartest psychological dramas the British brainwashing cult has ever produced. My name is Sam Tyler. I had an accident and woke up in 1973. Am I mad, in a coma, or back in time? That opening monologue is deceptively simple, and that's the point. The show never promises answers. It promises uncertainty. Sam Tyler, a modern police officer from 2006, wakes up after being hit by a car and finds himself working as a detective in 1973 Manchester, under the command of DCI Gene Hunt. Same building, same job, different world, and crucially, a lower rank. Right from the start, the series strips Sam of authority, certainty, and control. Let's get this out of the way first. Gene Hunt has some of the best insults ever committed to British television. They're brutal, imaginative, perfectly timed, and dripping with that uniquely British ability to be offensive and charming at the same time. Philip Glenister's performance is iconic for a reason. But Gene isn't just comic relief. He's the embodiment of everything Sam both despises and envies. Instinct over procedure, results over rules, certainty over doubt. And that's where Life on Mars quietly reveals its genius. This is not a time travel show. It looks like one, it dresses itself like one, but structurally, thematically, and emotionally, it isn't. The ambiguity is the entire engine. Sam isn't hopping through time, trying to fix paradoxes or prevent assassinations. He's trapped in a mental state he doesn't understand, trying to retain his identity while everything around him insists on reshaping it. The 1973 he inhabits isn't real history, it's remembered history. Sam even tells us this. He was 4 years old in 1973. His version of the decade is a collage of childhood impressions, TV cop shows like The Sweeney, cultural shorthand and moral contrasts. That's why the world feels heightened, why the sexism is blatant, why the policing is rough, sometimes appalling, yet effective. This is the 70s as imagined by a man from 2006 who grew up absorbing it through pop culture. That's why the show works. Sam's predicament isn't how do I get back to my own time. It's how do I stay myself, while everything around me insists I'm wrong. He hears voices, doctors, machines, loved ones, bleeding into his reality. He encounters people who resemble figures from his real life. He meets his parents, not as memories, but as flawed, human adults. He's contacted by a mysterious figure who claims Sam is on assignment, yet offers no clarity or reassurance. Every explanation is partial, every answer raises new questions. And crucially, the show never cheats by confirming any single interpretation. Is Sam in a coma? Is he dead? Is this purgatory? Is it time travel? Is it a constructed coping mechanism? You know, the show really understands that certainty would ruin it. This is where, honestly, so many lesser stories would have just collapsed into exposition. But Life on Mars refuses to do that. Instead, it grounds itself in character. Sam still solves crimes. He still wants justice. He still argues with Jean over ethics, brutality, and methods. And slowly, without any real fanfare, mutual respect forms, not because either man changes completely, but because both are forced to confront their blind spots. Gene Hunt isn't a caricature. Over time, the show reveals his loyalty, his moral core, and his deep belief in protecting his people, even if, his methods are prehistoric. The second series especially peels back the bluster and shows a man who genuinely believes he's doing the right thing in a world that doesn't exactly reward introspection. The humor never undermines the drama, it actually enhances it. The banter isn't there to deflate tension, it's there to make the characters feel real, Which is why, when the show goes dark, it really hits. The hospital scenes, the moments where Sam is convinced he's waking up, the terror of choosing between a world that feels solid and one that feels distant and abstract. And this is why calling Life on Mars a time travel show misses the point entirely. Time travel stories tend to trivialize danger by offering escape hatches. Life on Mars does the opposite. It traps its protagonist in uncertainty and forces him to live with it. There are real stakes, because Sam doesn't know the rules. He doesn't know if dying in 1973 kills him forever. He doesn't know if staying means surrendering his real life. Every choice matters because there's no reset button. So the final episode is honestly a masterclass in restraint and payoff. It doesn't spoon-feed answers, and it certainly doesn't undo the journey we've all been on. Instead, it commits fully. And the ending is not just satisfying, it's emotionally devastating in the best possible way. It reframes everything without invalidating it, and really, it respects the audience enough to trust them with a bit of ambiguity. That's why this series endures, not because of nostalgia, not because of gimmicks, but because it understands that the most frightening thing isn't being lost in time, it's losing certainty about who you are. Life on Mars isn't about time travel, it's about identity, it's about memory, it's about morality under pressure. And it's about choosing meaning in a world that just refuses to explain itself. This is a superior crime drama. One of the BBC's absolute best, honestly. And if you've written it off as a quirky sci-fi experiment, well, you've missed something genuinely special. Go watch it and don't get it confused with that abomination that bears the same name. Thanks for dropping by the Snake Pit, where we thrive on untapped potential and lost opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where naturally I won't read them. Until next time, stay venomous.